this is Michelle, and I'm here today to share with you my Country Craft Creations design team project number 3 for July. As you all know, I've received the packet of Let's Travel by Carta Bella, and I just absolutely loved this. I've already made an album for you, and a tutorial is available, and I've already made a passport holder, and again, that tutorial is also available. And then, going along with the theme, the album being a project that you can make after your vacation, and the passport holder being a project that you can take with you on your vacation, I wanted to share a couple things that you can do. I had 2 leftover pieces of beautiful paper, and I wanted to create a frame. So you could take a couple special pictures from your trip, and you could create a really beautiful frame for hanging on your wall, putting on your desk, what have you, and then you can enjoy it all the time. An album is beautiful and it's awesome, but you kind of can put it away on your shelf. These will be out for you to be able to see all the time. So I wanted to show you how to do this. This is not a new project. It's been around for a little while, but I haven't seen it lately, and I just thought we could go over how to make it. I'll show you this first one. So it only requires 1 piece of pattern paper and a couple pieces of cardstock, and then you can create a beautiful frame for a picture. My best friend Jackie and I went to Hawaii last November, and this was my favorite picture of us at a luau, and I just thought that this paper was gorgeous and fit beautifully with it. What I did was I used a little bit of the cut apart pieces and ephemera pieces and created a real pretty design, and then I went through my stash and found some flowers and some bling, and I added that to the project. And as you can see, it is a recessed frame. I did put a pink frame raised with a little bit of foam tape over the picture to give it a little bit more dimension. I scallop edged punched the inside part of the box and added some more flowers in the recess, so it's a real pretty 3D design that you can create. I used some of the enamel dots in the corner that came with the design team kit, and some of the seam binding to put on the tag. So I thought this was really, it turned out really, really pretty. I thought that this was gorgeous. So again, it only used 1 piece of pattern paper from the kit, and I used the artisan cardstock for the ivory artisan cardstock that creates the inside of the box, and then also the back of the frame. So this is a totally enclosed piece, and again, you can display it however you want. And then I added a piece of the pink to kind of bring out the little pink pieces in the paper. So that was this frame. And then the next one I did, again, 1 piece of pattern paper, and I got this picture. We went on a tour, and I just thought this was an absolute gorgeous picture, so I decided I wanted to showcase that one. Again, I got some flowers and things from my stash on this one, but I did use enamel dots that came with the design team package. And then I took some stickers and some cut aparts, some ephemera, and made a little collage down here. And I thought that turned out really cute. The bling came from my stash as well. I wanted to kind of bring out some of the red in the paper, so that's why I chose that. But I think it turned out really cute. So let's go ahead and talk about how to make this. Again, not a project that I absolutely invented myself. This has been around for a while, but I'm going to show you how to do it, because it's really awesome to be able to do this and be able to use up that last piece of paper that you didn't quite get to if you really want to use up your kit, which is what I kind of wanted to do. So what you're going to need is just a couple of things. So this is going to be the actual frame itself. This is what you're going to use your pattern paper for. So you need 1 piece of pattern paper, and it is going to measure 12 by 10. And this will give you, the way that I did the scoring and the measuring, a 5 by 7 picture frame. Okay? And then again, with a little bit of math and a little bit of dimension changing, you can make this pretty much any size you want. So you're going to get this 12 by 10 piece of pattern paper, and then you're going to do a little bit of scoring. Now I did this kind of in steps with some scoring and some cutting, so we're going to go through how I did that. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is, I made the frame an inch deep, and the recessed frame is an inch deep, and then I wanted an 1.5 inches of frame area so that I could really kind of show off the pattern paper. Okay, so that's where these measurements are coming in. And so the first thing I did was put my paper in my scoreboard, and I scored at 1 inch on all sides. Okay, so just score at 1 inch on all sides, and that will give you the sides of your pattern paper to make the sides of the box. And again, the box frame is going to be an inch in an inch deep, if I can learn how to talk. Okay, and so then the next thing you're going to want to do is do a little bit with your pencil and a ruler. And what I ended up doing was I measured from this first score line to here 1.5 inches. Okay, and then with a pencil on the wrong side, I lightly drew some marks. And let me get a different ruler here. So that's the second thing you're going to want to do after you make your first inch score line, is you're going to put your ruler on this paper, and you're going to measure 1.5 inches this way and 1.5 inches this way, and you're going to draw a line all the way down to 1.5 inches, and that's going to give you a direction for these next score lines. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so you're going to do that all the way around. So you're going to measure 1.5 inches here, 1.5 inches here, and then you're going to draw a line, and then you're going to put your piece back in your scoreboard, and you're only going to score on that line. So I put my ruler up at the top real flush with my ruler so that I knew where the groove was, and then I went down to the pencil line and felt real careful for the groove, excuse me, and then just scored down that line. Okay, and I did that all the way around. So I put it in here, measured 1.5 inches here, 1.5 inches here, put my ruler in, I drew my line with my pencil very lightly all the way down, making sure to keep that 1.5 inch frame. You don't want to score past that because that will ruin the integrity of your paper. Okay, you just want to make that one square. And then I lined up my ruler to the scoreboard, making sure to not cover up my groove, and then go down, feel your groove, and do your score. Do that all the way around. Once you get that done, then we're going to make some cuts. Okay, so this is where I grabbed my cutting mat and my ruler, and then I grabbed my X-Acto knife, and then from corner to corner in this area, you're going to line that up, and you're going to make a slit all the way from corner to corner. Okay, and you're going to do that on both sides. All right, from corner to corner. And then you're going to put your piece back into your scoreboard. So the steps are kind of, you know, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then step 4 here. So we're going to do one more score. And then what you're going to do is you're going to measure 1 inch. And the reason why this is 1 inch right here is because we're matching the inch that creates the depth of the box. Okay, and so you're going to measure that in, and you're going to line up your ruler, and then from the score to the score, you're going to do another, or from the cut, excuse me, you're going to do the score. Okay, and then you're going to turn it, and you're going to measure 1 inch in, and you're going to line that up with your scoreboard. Make sure you got your groove, and then do it from cut to cut. And that's why it will be a little bit off, because you're measuring 1 inch this way. You don't want to cut or do the score on this one all the way through, because then that will ruin the integrity of the inside box. So with that all being said, and I understand it can be a little complicated, what you're going to end up with is a piece that looks like this. Okay, so what we have done is we have done our score line here, which is going to be the side of the box, and then we have our 1.5 inch measurement right here that's going to be the frame, and we don't score all the way to the corners. Okay, that's where we did that second measurement and drew the line and then just scored those lines. Then we made our cuts, so you're going to end up with a piece that has 4 triangles. So you're going to make that cut here to here, and then you're going to make a cut here to here, and that's going to give you those 4 triangles. And then we put our piece back in, and then we made that score line. Okay, and we just scored cut to cut. And again, that's 1 inch because that part needs to measure this. Then the next thing that I did was I took and made tabs with these end pieces. When we scored the outside inch, you end up with this scored square. That's going to be your tab, and that's what's going to connect your box together. Okay, so I cut a slight angle on both of them, but you want these long pieces to be straight. So just cut right on the score line on the long pieces, but then bevel or miter your tab pieces. Okay, and then you're going to fold it, you're going to burnish it all the way around like so, and then this bottom piece, this is going to end up going in like that, and that's what's going to create the recessed part of our box. Okay, so folding and burnishing so that we end up having that recessed piece. Okay, so once all of that is done, then we're going to do just a little bit of gluing. Okay, and we're going to want to glue our tabs to the inside of the box. Okay, because we don't want them to show on the outside, and then when you're lining these up, you just will glue and line up the corners nice and flush. Okay, so let's do that. Get my glue out here. All right, and these are going to go to the inside of the box. And then we're going to line them up flush. And we're going to just hold it for a second. And then if you have some sort of clamp or clothespin or something like that, you can use that to help you out with holding that down. Hold that down just for a second so the glue gets a chance to catch. Okay. All right. And then we're going to go around and do the other side. Okay. And let's do that. And let's do that. All right. Make sure that they're nice and square on the corners. All right. Where's my other one? Well, I use this one. Okay, so now this is our box frame. This is made again out of the patterned paper, and we have all of our scores and cuts and everything's ready to go. So we're gonna just let this sit for a minute, let the glue dry, and we're gonna grab our next piece. So now our next piece is gonna be the inner recessed box, and I wanted to show you in a different color so that when we put it all together, you can kind of see the difference. So what I ended up doing was I cut a piece of cardstock that was 8 and 15/16 wide, and then 6 and 15/16 that way. Okay, so when you look at your rulers, so we have our, we have our 1/8 inch marks. You're gonna go to the 16th. So just one little nudge from the final, or from, I don't know how to explain that. One little mark away from 9, one little mark away from 7. So again, the measurements are 8 and 15/16 by 6 and 15/16. I hope that made sense. And then we're going to take and put it in our board, and we're going to score. Oops, smack my lights. You're gonna put it in your board, And this is obviously before you punch it, but you're going to score at 1 inch on every side. Okay, and then you're also going to make the tabs just like we made for the box. Okay, so again, these long side pieces, you need to have them straight, and then you're going to have a bevel here and a bevel there. Okay, and then what you're going to do is, if you want to, now you don't have to, but I wanted to use my favorite little punch, and it's just a simple little bubble punch that I have. But I really like it, and it's fun to use. And I'm going to give you a real quick hint with this. So I made kind of a ruler guide, I guess you could say, that I use when I am punching these things, because this particular one doesn't have a symmetrical kind of pattern to it. It has, you know, a little bump and a big bump, and it doesn't sometimes fit the project that you're doing. So what I ended up doing was I took and made kind of a guide for myself. And this is just a 12 by 12 or 12-inch piece strip of spare cardstock that I had. And I punched it all the way. I started at the edge and I just punched it all the way. So that way I would know what the pattern would be, how it would lie when I punch things. And so then what I do is when I get a piece of paper that I want to punch, it doesn't matter like what size it is, I can take, let me grab another scrap piece of paper. I can take this and I could line it up on the paper, and so let's say I want to punch that edge, and I can kind of see how it's going to lie, and I can kind of play with it. Do I want to start with the little punch or the little bubble? Do I want to start with the big bubble? How is it going to lie? How is it going to be symmetrical? I am a symmetrical kind of girl, so I usually try to line it up really well. So anyways, that's kind of what I do, and I have all my punches I've done that with, so whatever punch I decide to use, I can line it up on my paper no matter what size and kind of see where to start punching so that I can get it lined up symmetrical. Okay, so that's just my little helpful hint for the day. Hope that made sense. So then I took my paper and I used my little guide and I went ahead and punched the edges, and I tried to get them so that the corners, when they go up, would kind of sort of match up and make the big circle. So that's what the whole point of that was, so that when that goes together, it's as seamless as I possibly could get it. Okay, so we have scored it 1 inch on each side. We have made the tabs, and we have punched the edges. And so this is the inner box. So what this is going to do, let me take this and get these off here. What this is going to do is when we put it together, it's going to sit inside this box. And of course it's hard to put it in there before you put it all together, but it's going to sit in there because it did when I made it, that's for sure. All right, it's going to sit in your box, and it's going to be in the recessed part, and that's going to complete the inside of your picture frame. But the one thing that we're going to do is once you stick this in the box, we're going to bring it back here. We're going to take the tabs to the outside. And the reason why I did this is because it helps secure the box to the actual pattern paper frame, but it also made the corners as seamless as I could get them, so it looks like it pretty much punched all the way around. Okay, and then the tabs are hidden behind the frame. Okay, so once we get to this point, we're going to put it in there. We're going to make sure it's nice and flush and everything's good, and then we're just going to do some gluing and glue it down. Okay, so I just did some glue on each of these, and I did it on 2 sides at a time because I'm trying to make sure that it's as straight as possible. And I put that down, and then I turned it over, and then I put it down. Now the other reason why I decided to punch this is because you might have a little overhang with your inner box as compared to your outer box. So if you decide not to punch and you just want to put it in there, that's fine. You can totally do that. But double check it before you glue down, because you may have to trim that inch on the sides a little bit just to make it flush, okay? And when I punched it, that took a little bit of the edge off, so I didn't have to worry about that, okay? So then do your other triangles. And again, I put them down, and then I turned it over so that I could make sure that everything kind of stayed as straight as possible. All right. Then the other thing that I liked to do is I just went in here and ran a little line of glue, and then I did all the way around just to help secure that, because otherwise the two end pieces here that I just did aren't really secured down. The two longer pieces will be with the tabs, but the other two won't. So I just wanted a little bit more of a security with my pieces. And it doesn't have to be a whole lot. And then you can turn it over and you can do that. And you can go from the inside and kind of press down. Okay. And then these little tabs, just a little bit of glue here, and then secure those back. I'm doing this kind of quick because this is a demo. I'm not doing the real deal. I did a little better job, trust me, of making sure that everything was good and adhered and everything. But since this is a model, I'm being a little quick with it. But okay, so now you should have a piece that looks like that. So now we need to make the box that ends up finishing this off. So for that, for the back box, I cut a piece, and it has to be a little bit smaller than your actual frame. So again, I did it at 11 and 15/16, so 1/16 inch shy of 12 inches, 11 by 15/16 by 9 and 15/16, which is a 16th inch shy of 10 inches. Okay, so then did the same thing. I did the score at the 1 inch all the way around, okay, and then made our tabs, and then basically you just create your second box. All right, little glue on the tab, line it up nice and straight on the corners. Nice and straight on the corners. Put our little clippy doos on. And then do it again over here. I just like this project so much because, you know, a lot of times we make the albums, and like I said, they, you know, after we look at them for a while and they go on the shelf, and you may not see them for quite a little while till you pull them back out again. And these, you know, this is a great project where you can not only showcase your beautiful pictures from your trip, but you can also use up the beautiful paper that you might not have used in your other projects. So I was pretty excited when I remembered about this, and then I thought, oh, I've got the perfect pictures to show in there. So, all right. So then once those are dry, then all you do is take the back of the box and insert it into the front of the box. And then it's just small enough to where it should fit snug, and it won't fall out, but it won't buckle and stuff either. Now, at this point, here's our frame. So if you can imagine, this outer frame is our pattern paper, and inside here is solid cardstock, because you're going to cover it with your picture anyway. But again, it'll have the nice edge, and it'll be nice and sturdy. Okay, and then we have the box that's covered on the back side, all pretty. So you can hang this on your wall. You could adhere a little ribbon to it if you wanted to, and then hang it with a little hook. You could put it in an easel, which you could get, you know, at any of your local craft stores. and then frame your picture. So the other thing that I did, since I actually put the pictures in and everything, is I also, to make sure that it was going to stay together really nicely, you can put a bead of glue in here and make sure that the boxes are glued together. Okay, then you get all the fun of picking your picture and making all your decorations and making this picture your own. So that is my project. I hope that all made sense. I have a in the description, I'll put down all the measurements for you, and I hope you enjoyed it. I really had fun making this project, and this would be really good for all kinds of different things. And again, with a little bit of re-measuring, you could do this for 4x6 pictures, or 4x3s even. You could make smaller ones, but these were built for 5x7s. So anyway, that's my project. I hope you enjoyed it. That's project number 3 for Country Craft Creations Design Team July. And again, I used the Let's Travel by Carta Bella. And stay tuned, because pretty soon we are not only going to have our Christmas in July, but I have a 4th project using this paper line with all the scraps and things that I had left over that I think you're going to really enjoy. So I'm going to share that with you too. So I hope you have a really good day. Stay crafty, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.